sitting there.
Hey YouTube, Repo Man 64. Man, I don't want to go to work today. We are so close. You can all feel it. I'm so excited. I can hardly wait. I am so tired of this planet. I just want to go home. Every single day I'm like, is everybody like me? I'm like, I don't even want to do that anymore. I mean, we have to. We have to occupy. We have to continue. So here I go, headed to work. But we just keep watching. We keep waiting. I wanted to talk to you about when this is going to happen. When is this going to happen? I have said it for months, a long time now, that each of you is going to get a warning. We're going to get close. God's going to show us the times and the seasons. But God himself is not going to share his glory by having one person tell one person and that one person tell you. And then you think that that one person was the one that came up with it. I don't believe that's what's going to happen. I believe ultimately God is going to warn each one of you, because each one of you is important. Each one of you is a part of the body. Each one of you is watching and waiting and dreaming about this day. And I think that's what it's all about. I think that's what all of this has been about. Like, I watched Dr. Barry's video today, and he's right. It's God has been. It's like he said, the 3 years of the fig tree. He went over to dig it up because it didn't produce anything. And God said, no, dung it. And in the 4th year, I will come and get it. And coming up on that 4th year. We're in it now. And it's almost over. And God's going to wait to the last possible minute. It's not that he's waiting. He already had this date set up from before the foundations of the world. But he's trying us and separating us and proving us as we go forward. So what date is it? What date are we looking at the closest? Well, they were looking at Rosh Hashanah as being on the 6th and 7th, which is today. Pretty exciting stuff. But it's not. Wackadoodle Samoan's back. That's exciting. He does a Stellarium thing, and I love the way he teaches. He just, as a matter of fact, plain, this is it. He doesn't, he doesn't mix words. He's straight up with you, and I like that about him. And anyway, in his video that he just put up, he proves very simply that the crescent of the new moon isn't even going to appear until the 8th, possibly the 9th. On the 8th, it's hung so low when the sun goes down, and then it goes down, there really hardly is time to see it. And it is at 3%. I looked it up. It's at 3% on that day. The following day, it's at 8%. So, but do they see it? That's the question. Do they see it? Dr. Barry's the same way. They look at the moon. They're looking at the moon to define this day. And like I've always said, I look at Enoch. I know what Enoch clearly says. And it's pretty black and white for me in Enoch, but I'm not an authority on Enoch. I've studied it a little bit, and I've learned the calendar according to Enoch. And I know, according to Enoch, that Feast of Trumpets falls on September the 15th. It's as plain as day. You can't argue with it. It falls on September 15th, and I know this because it's the 7th month and the 1st day, and when you count 182 days from the beginning of the year, you come to that date. The problem is, and a lot of people say this, and they've held on to this for quite a while, that the day that no man knows the day of the hour has something to do with spotting this new moon, which they might be right. I don't know. I'm not an expert on any of this. I'm just trying to figure it out like everybody else. And at the end of the day, God's going to tell each one of you. Anyway, it's not going to be me that tells you. But what if it has nothing to do with the moon? Literally nothing to do with the moon. And September the 15th is the day out of time. Remember, the Enoch calendar has 364 days. Our calendar has 365 and a quarter. There is a day at a time. The Bible speaks about this day. This is the long day, the one day that God extended time for a war to be won. That happens, I believe, on September the 15th. I think September the 15th, not for us, it becomes September the 16th. But something happens to the Enoch calendar on September Tishri 1. Let's just say Elul 2930, something happens where there's one long day in there. And we don't see it because our calendar, basically, Gregorian calendar, is spot on. I mean, it's self-correcting. It's the same every year, just like the Enoch calendar is the same every year. January 1st is January 1st. It doesn't jumble around based on a moon or anything. And so is the Enoch calendar the same way. March 17th is the beginning of the year, period. It never changes. September the 15th is the 182nd day of the year, and it is Tishri 1. And then from Tishri 1, you go back to March 16th being the end of the year, the last day of the year. But there's a day missing because the Enoch calendar is 364 days, not 365. So I think we're coming into it on the 14th. Trust me, I want this to happen now. I want to go home now. I hope the moon theory is correct, and the day at a time is because they didn't spot the moon on one day. They had to wait for the next day. I hope that's all accurate, and it might be. I don't know. I'm not an authority. But when I see the extra day in Enoch landing on September the 14th, 15th, to me, that's the day at a time. So we'll keep watching. Love Dr. Barry's video. Love his work, man. He does so much work on his time. And he's looking at Feast of Trumpets, but he's saying it's going to be October the 7th, 8th, because they believe that there's a month out of time there. I still believe fall is fall is fall is fall. It doesn't change. The Gregorian calendar doesn't budge. Fall is September the 22nd. That there's no way around that, you know, and this date is falling after that. But Dr. Barry does a lot of work, a lot more than I do. He really gets into it. So anyway, on my last video, I had a comment. Tells me, you clearly aren't saved because you clearly don't understand that when you become saved, you have to stop sinning and you have to do this, this, and this. And I thought about his comment for a while, you know, and I clearly understand that he is confused. He just doesn't understand salvation. But it's so hard to explain it to somebody who isn't. You know, Jesus did, though. He was fast. The rich man walked up to Jesus and said, I've done everything. I've stopped sinning. I never sinned. I've done everything perfect, walked according to every law. This guy did it all. He did all of it, except for one thing. He was rich. You know, the rich people get the best food. They get the best living conditions. They get the most time to invest into things, you know. They aren't subjected to what the rest of us are subjected to out here. So how fair would that be? How fair would that be, you know? So I responded to him and I said, you know, you sound like the rich man where you thought you had something to do. We live in an age of grace. We are not under the law. There is no law that we have to do. We don't have to do anything. Jesus did it all. He said on the cross, it is finished. Now only a saved person can hear this and understand this. An unsaved person cannot hear this and cannot understand this because they believe that there is work to be done. And they just might be defining themselves as a tribulation saint. I don't know. I don't know where it comes from or how it enters their mind that there's more that needs to be done. They bring up passages nonstop that there is more to be done. And I'm going to say, once you're saved, more will be done. It's your proof. It's your fruit. It's your evidence. I don't want to sin. I don't want to sin at all. But, you know, I was doing 80 the other day. I broke a little bit of the law. Just a tiny fraction of the law. God says to obey the law of the land. And I was doing 80 into 75. I broke the law. I'm guilty of the entire law. Think about every dirty, disgusting sin that any human being could be done. And God says, if you were guilty of one tittle of the law, you're guilty of the entire law. So because of that little 5 mile an hour over the speed limit that I went, I'm guilty of the most horrific sins that the planet has to offer. God put me right in the same mixture as the rest of them because I broke that one little law. What do? That's what the law was designed to do. The law was designed to teach you that you could not possibly obey it. Not in these sinful bodies. Once we get to heaven and our glory. Now, the law's not going anywhere. The law is always going to exist. But we will enjoy the law. We will revel in the law. We will love the law. We will be able to follow the law. It'll be written on our hearts and on our minds. There will be no other. It'll be like breathing. You know how to breathe, otherwise you wouldn't be here. I ate a sandwich, sorry about that. Try to get that under control. Let me have some end of the world coffee from Aaron. Got a minute. That's hot. Aaron should have warned me about that. Anyway, I just wanted to get on here. Salvation is of the Lord, lest any man shall boast. John 6:44. Nobody comes to the Father, lest the Father draw him. It's all about him. It's nothing to do with you. You've done nothing. You will never do anything. But there will be fruit. There will be evidence. This is a court battle. This is not some fist fight going on in heaven. This is a court battle that's happening right now. Satan believes he has rights. And it's like here in America, I don't know how it is in the rest of the world, but you can sue anybody for anything, anytime. You'll spend a fortune trying to defend yourself. A fortune. And then at the end of the day, when you win, because it was an unjustified lawsuit in the first place, it doesn't matter. You still have to go through it. God's going through this process right now with Satan. It's about to end. It's about to end. When he comes down, we go up. So, I drive to work and I wait and I watch. Is Wackadoodle Simone correct? Is it going to happen on the 8th or 9th? Because that's when the first crescent of the moon will be seen. I don't know. Is Enoch right? Is it going to happen on the 15th? There's somebody else going because of 9/11 that happened. It could happen then, but I don't know that 9/11 was a worldwide event. It was kind of localized here in the United States, but that might be a good day too. But the fact is that we're all going to get this warning. We're all going to get this trumpet blast. It might even be just at the last second, and then we go. Anyway, I'm just rambling on, just trying to give you some encouragement. Hang in there. You're saved. Jesus did it all. He didn't do anything. Jesus did it all. He said on the cross, it is finished. The date's coming. Hang in there. It's going to happen. We just have to wait, be patient, because the day is coming, and we'll be notified. And I pray that it's today. I really do. I want to go home now. Clouds look so low I can almost touch them. Or maybe it's just because I'm looking lately. I don't know. They look like big, how do they say? They look like big cotton balls. Just like right there. But anyway, RepoMan64. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will come back on here when I have absolutely nothing to say again. Sorry, just kidding. I'll come back if I hear anything or any news that's going on. Something happened with the president yesterday, but we're not getting told what it was. But hopefully we find out what that was all about. Anyway, we'll see y'all later. Have a blessed day, and I pray that I see you all in heaven here in the next hour, 15 minutes, day, week, as soon as possible. Talk to you later.